Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number one of my favorite 31 albums of the 70s countdown, which we've been doing all month here in October 2023, 31 days in the month. And today is Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. On October 31st, we've gotten my number one pick, which I'm sure won't be a surprise to most of you. Although I still saw some comments from people yesterday that are just like scratching their heads. God, what could Pete possibly pick for his number one album of the 70s? It shouldn't be all that hard, folks, if you've been following what I've been doing here all these years. My number one pick from the 70s, the fourth album from this British band, released June 5th, 1970, recorded at IBC, Delane Leah and Abbey Road Studios in London, England, produced by the band for Harvest Records in the UK, Warner Brothers here in the States. I'm talking about, are you ready? Yes, Deep Purple in rock. And for the one viewer who said yesterday, posted a comment saying, I know Pete's going to pick in rock, but Machine Head is 100 times better. And I'm like, my response to him was like, that's cool if you like that album better, but there is no better. There's nothing set in stone. There's no fact that says that Machine Head is a better album than In Rock. It all depends on what you like, right? I love Machine Head. I do. I love this a bit more. In fact, Machine Head is even my second favorite Deep Purple album. That would be Burn. Machine Head has obviously some of their most well-known songs on it, but I think they have some albums that are a little bit better, right? This, of course, being one of them. So this has been my favorite Deep Purple album for a long time. But for those of you who thought it was going to get usurped by something else, kind of like Volume 4 got usurped by Master of Reality, for my favorite Black Sabbath album and my number 2 pick for the 70s. That's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think. There is a rawness, a absolute primal heaviness of this album, which I've always been very, very much drawn to. Of course, this is the first full-on assault of Deep Purple doing that kind of proto-metal thing, right? One of the most important albums in the history of heavy music, alongside Zeppelin's first album and Sabbath's first album and Uriah Heep's first album and this, their fourth album, right? Because these guys were around a little bit longer than the others, right? Richie Blackmore on guitar, Ian Gillan on vocals, his debut studio album with the band. Roger Glover on bass, also his debut studio album with the band. John Lord on organ and Ian Pace on drums. Martin Birch and Andy Knight also helping out with engineering on this, as well as Philip McDonald, right? So, what's on this album? Well, it starts off with Speed King. Right from the opening tremolo bar blast, whammy bar blast from Richie Blackmore and the feedback and all that this is going to be a different beast than the 3 albums that came before it. All of a sudden that kind of psychedelic kind of British take on the whole flower power thing and pop and atmospheric rock and all that sort of stuff from the first 3 albums. Fine for what it was, for sure. But that's kind of come to an end here abruptly. They have found a singer. Rod Evan was fine. But Ian Gillan, totally different beast. And you hear it right off the bat on Speed King. A ferocious heavy rocker with a crushing riff, great vocal, man, the organ and the drums, everything just going full speed ahead. And you got Bloodsucker, kick-ass, total kick-ass rocker. You got some great deep cuts on this album. Then, of course, Child in Time, one of my favorite songs of all time. That's the epic, slow, atmospheric, builds up to a furious organ and guitar solo, cadenza, Ian Gillan's primal screams, right? It's all about the Vietnam War. It's a chilling, kick-ass song. Side 2 is unrelenting. Flight of the Rat, killer. Into the Fire. Ian Gillan, hello. I have arrived on the scene, folks. Into the Fire is just absolutely crazy. Grinding, heavy song. Living Wreck. That's kind of funky. Got lots of groove. Great organ from John Lord. And then, of course, Hard Loving Man. Arguably the beginnings of that kind of like heavy metal gallop, right? Way back in 1970. Awesome stuff. Of course, you got session tracks not included on the original album. certainly included in later CD reissues, including this one. You got Black Knight, which is the single released during these sessions. Black Knight, one of Deep Purple's greatest songs in my opinion. Awesome stuff. Great guitar lick on that. Just a really cool, hard rock and bluesy tune. And then, of course, you got Cry Free. I mean, how did Cry Free not make this album? I know it's kind of primitive sounding, but Cry Free is so heavy. If you've never heard Cry Free, if you're watching the show and you're like, Cry Free, I don't know that song, Pete. That wasn't on the In Rock album. No, it wasn't. It was a studio outtake. Go listen to Cry Free. It's here on YouTube. You can go check it out. Cry Free is excellent. Also, you got the instrumental Jam Stew, which was also recorded during these sessions. So, yeah, I mean, just great stuff. Love this album. Love it, love it, love it. Charting positions. Let's see. Australia, number 1. Finland, number 9. Germany, number 1. Italy, number 19. Japan, number 68. Norway, number 5. UK, number 4. Only made it to 143 in the Billboard charts. So, U.S. Deep Purple still not really hitting it quite yet. That would change with the next album, Fireball, certainly with Machine Head and everything going forward, including Stormbringer. I think Come Taste the Band saw their kind of success here slip a little bit, but then pop back up a bunch of years later with Perfect Strangers. Certifications and sales. So we got a bunch of them here. Denmark. Gold, 25,000 units sold. France, gold, 100,000 units sold. Germany, gold, 250,000 units sold. Italy, gold, 25,000 units sold. Netherlands, gold, 50,000 units sold. Sweden, whatever, I guess they don't call anything in Sweden, 25,000 units sold. UK, gold, 100,000 units sold. An additional 100,000 units sold since 1995, since the first reissue. Okay, so that's pretty good. Still picking up lots of sales in the UK and the United States. Gold, 500,000 units sold, 500,000 copies, right? So pretty good, right? You know, not busting up the charts, but still doing pretty good as far as like singles go. Let's see, Black Knight, which was released in 1970, made it to number 2 on the UK singles chart, number 66 on the U.S. Billboard chart. And any other singles released from this album? Speed King, believe it or not, was also released as a single May of 1970. That kind of died without a trace, I guess. So there you have it, everybody. In Rock by Deep Purple is my number 1 album of the 70s. Let us know what you think of In Rock as well as your pick for number 1. That's what it's all about. We're all sharing our number 1s today. And get ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow starts our favorite solo albums of all time. Remember, the criteria had to have been a solo release from someone who was from a major or fairly significant band first. Then they either just went off and did a solo record, stayed in the band, or perhaps they've done many solo albums but still stayed in the band, or they left the band and did this new solo project, right? And I'm giving a little leeway here because there are some really notable people who left that big band and started off a new band, which, you know, really was a band, not just a solo project, but they took the person's name as the name of the band, right? So, of course, you know who the usual suspects are here. There's plenty of them. So it's sort of a solo. It's like a solo band. So it's that person's new band using their name, but it is a band, right? As opposed to just going into the studio recording a solo album and that's it, right? So we're including both. So it can be that, just kind of like a solo studio record, or it can be, okay, here's my new band, here's the name of it, we're going forward, right? So that there's like a good bunch of really notable ones. Originally I wasn't going to include those, but I said, God, there's so many that really, they were solo outings, right? But it's just a new band for that guy going solo. So that's kind of the criteria I'm using. You guys can do it as loose as you want, if you want. So it's, you know, that's how we do it here at SOT. So anyway, there you have it. That's starting tomorrow. We'll see you for pick number 30 right here tomorrow. Till then, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page and our Cameo page. Thanks in advance for all your support there. And, hey, we'll see you tonight on In the Proxy, right? We got the sequel to our very popular episode from a few weeks back. We've got our least favorite album covers from the prog world. The album covers that kind of suck, right? So that's coming up tonight. So I hope you don't miss it, and we'll see you then. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye bye.